one. Bird. Right. You are good too. Handsome.
What's going on, people? Fame Entertainment here from LV1Gaming.com. And congratulations, you guys leveled up 287. This is the Double XP podcast. It is Wednesday, April 17th, something like that. I appreciate you guys rocking through, man. I see y'all in the chat. Listen, y'all know how we've been doing it lately, right? We got the OG feed, which is up and running, right? Stanley, Spartan, Crow, Bordy, Arcade, Don coming through, rocking with us on the OG feed. I appreciate you guys. Listen, we going in tonight. The shorts feed is up and running. See, last week, the shorts feed beat the hell out of the OG feed. Shout out to the shorts feed for coming through, you know, repping the shorts feed. We got both feeds up. We see in both chats. Listen, before we get into it, if you guys want to support the stream, the easiest thing you can do is hit that like button, because the like button helps us out a whole bunch. Subscribe if you're having a good time. Subscribe if you laugh, all that good stuff. We're a little short-handed tonight, but it's okay because it's a fame sandwich. I got the ladies with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind being baloney. Put me on the thing. Let me bubble up a little bit. I don't mind being that. So first with the introductions, my right hand, man, the floor hugger with the hardest for ours. What's going on, sis?
What's going on, you? A piece of bologna in a sandwich, really? Okay.
Listen, put a little mustard on it.
I didn't know I needed that.
I'll be bologna.
Hey, I'm not saying it's not good because it's delicious. But I wasn't expecting that out of your mouth today.
Whoa.
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to talk about some video game stuff and look at Fame suspiciously. Make sure you guys are clipping all this, please, and we'll put it up on socials, please. Thank you.
Listen, the meme box is about to get violated here in a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna wait 15 minutes, and I'm gonna violate the meme box. I apologize. I already see people talking about the diddler. I think that went over people last week. I think that went over some people last week, but they definitely saying it this week. Next up, one of the hardest working women in the biz. We talking Freedom Games. We talking Dames for Games. This woman works hard. Des, what's going on, sis?
Happy to be here. It's just us tonight, so I don't have to worry about getting upset on camera. Very, very excited about having a chill night and talking about some of the stuff that we're going to bring up, because it's kind of light with news, but there are some like little crunchy bits out there. So I'm excited about that.
It most definitely is. And listen, I want to jump right into it, right? Because Skybound, if you guys listen, I'm not even gonna hold you. Invincible. I almost didn't go back to finish watching season 2 because I was kind of irritated about how they were releasing the episodes, right? But I finally went back and watched it once the season fully dropped. They're just playing what's happening with you, man. I see you. And the season finally dropped. I went back and watched it and remember why I fell in love with the Invincible series. Skybound is making a AAA Invincible game. However, they're going about it a way we can really respect, right? There's going to be no publisher, right? They're not reaching out to EA. They're not reaching out to PlayStation, Microsoft. They're not reaching out to Ubisoft. They're going to crowdfund this AAA title. Des, I want to start with you, right? Because when you think about the Invincible is one of the biggest names right now in entertainment, because it's Amazon Prime. People love the series. People love the comics or whatnot. But the show is pretty damn big, right? So they're creating a AAA game, right? When we hear AAA, we're expecting high quality, right? When you say we're making a AAA game, but no publisher, and you're crowdfunding it, right? They are trying to get like 18 mil or something along the lines. Is this a mistake? Would a name like this, with a title like this, should they have reached out to EA, reached out to Ubisoft, reached out to Take-Two, which, by the way, Take-Two, after you just got Gearbox, you laid off 500 employees. Now don't let that go, Take-Two. After you just acquired Gearbox, you laid off 500 employees. But Des, you think that's a mistake?
They weren't going to do that? I thought
they said they weren't going to do it. They said we're not laying people off, and they just laid off 500 people. But Invincible, or if you could talk about that too, right? But Invincible, AAA game, but crowdfunding a AAA title.
I want to know what they consider a AAA game, because a AAA game usually comes from a big publisher. Like, you can And it can't be IP based because you have indie devs who buy the IPs for like movies and games. And for example, G.I. Joe, that's coming from Freedom Games, right? But that's not considered a AAA game because it's made by an indie developer.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know. It's weird because now I want to know what their definition of AAA is, right? Like what kind of expectations do they plan on having? Then again, most of the AAA games that come out now are broken anyways. So.
Dude,
What do you consider
you're not
AAA?
wrong.
Because I think a lot of people,
Usually,
we hear AAA a lot, right? It's a AAA game, AAA game.
yeah.
I don't think people really understand in the context of gaming, like what that actually means. Is it just, oh, we spent this much money? Or is it we have this many workers here? What is a AAA game? Because this is bright as day. They're making a AAA Invincible game.
Usually a AAA game comes from like an established publisher, right? So when you think of AAA game, you think Sony, or you think Nintendo, right? Anything Nintendo releases is AAA. Anything that Sony, anything that Xbox usually releases, if they're not going with a third party, is a AAA game. If there's crowdfunding, it makes me think it's probably like a AA, not AAA, which sounds weird, but it's not going to get the same kind of marketing and production quality that these companies have because they have the amount. Now, if they can raise $18 million, then you might get some AAA quality. But I
Let me
don't
correct
know
myself. Let me correct myself because you brought that up. So Skybound says that it has raised $18 million in funds, but they're looking to raise an additional $5 million for this title. So I want to correct myself. I apologize.
No, that's fair. I think they'll be able to get 5 million. Like easy. Puff Pals got like millions of dollars, and they started off as making toys and then decided they wanted to make a game. So and I think Invincible's IP is strong enough. It has a big enough fan base if they want to see it. But is this their first time making a game of this caliber? I wonder. Because I haven't really followed this studio.
You know what? While we're here, I don't think they have, because then they do the Walking Dead games. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know. I didn't play any of those games.
What?
I'm not a zombie fan at all. So, and I know I say that, and then I play like open world survival games, but I'm not playing them because I deal with zombies. Like, so.
And the best Walking Dead games are the Telltale games. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I want to say that they came in like after the fact and did a bunch of cleanup with the Walking Dead. But I honestly don't know much about them as far as what games they made. I just really know them because this Invincible thing. But there we go. Bordy said they did do it.
Indie. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if I would consider it AAA.
And I think that's what's going to get people excited and weirded out at the same time, because you're telling me, hey, we're making a AAA game. We're going to have no backing from any publisher. We're going to crowdfund. I can't think of any AAA game that was crowdfunded. Let me know if I'm wrong. Like, drop a name, whether, what AAA game was
technically Shenmue.
Yeah, and how did that turn out?
But it's still crowdfunded.
It's still crowdfunded.
It doesn't matter if it's good or not.
No, you're right.
I think my issue is like, what is their definition of AAA versus what is everybody else's definition of AAA? Because all the things that you're telling me about it don't sound AAA. It sounds like it's leaning heavily towards like a digital devolver type game, which is usually AA.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Because AAA, yeah, you go out there and say you're making a AAA game, you better live up to what a AAA game is, regardless of the mistakes and things that happen on it. You also have like a really large team. So I feel like I don't know enough about this studio to be able to say whether they're going to be able to pull this off. But I do really want them to like just not slap AAA on it and like tell us why they think this is considered to be a AAA game, because it's not just because of the IP. As I said before, people have bought established IPs before and have made games, and they're still considered indie games. So even with the publisher,
I think getting hung up on that AAA thing is weird, because a game I've been playing recently, A Plague Tale Requiem for me is a AAA experience, but most people would not call it a AAA game.
Exactly.
I,
They
you
did
can't
that to
pigeonhole
get people
yourself into
talking
that.
about it. They had
That's
to. This was
yeah.
this was a marketing move because like if you make a great game, you don't need to say it's AAA or indie. It's a great game.
Eat, mama. You said it. Doesn't matter if it's a good game, it's going to transcend.
They might have fucked themselves over by attaching that to the game, especially if they don't have any experience making. Like I don't even know what type of game. I mean, there's gonna have to be some
they could
fighting
be pulling
in
a
it.
Lawbreakers.
Yeah, so I don't.
Comparing themselves to Overwatch.
Well, is it not like the quadruple A games that was like all the fad, and we're like, okay, what the hell's a quadruple A game? And it turns out it's nothing more than a regular AAA title. I agree with you, Dez. I do think there's they could have set themselves up, but apparently this original crowdfunding was back in 2023, so this was last year when they had it ran a fundraiser campaign with a minimum of $500 investment that ultimately raised more than $17.8 million. Hugs, I'm gonna switch to you. Is this a mistake? Yeah, and that shows you what there's a lot of power behind this IP. All right, so it's kind of weird that, number one, did you not pitch this to publishers, or you're truly saying, hey, we don't want any other publisher to have anything to do with this game? Either you didn't pitch it, because there's no way that with this type of IP that a publisher like a Take-Two, like Ubisoft, Microsoft, PlayStation wouldn't get behind you and say, hell yeah, I want a piece of that Invincible pie. Because, or even like Amazon, you would think like Amazon Games, right? How is this not like fully backed by Amazon?
They got the money in order to buy the IP. That's it. You know, it's like when people buy IPs to create, for example, you have them creating Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy. As long as you have the money to buy the IP and the presentation that you give them, the pitch deck looks good, and they think like, okay, no, this sounds good. They'll let you buy the IP so you can make whatever game you want. Now, what I think would be smart is to see how this game turns out. And then if anybody else wants to jump in on it, they could learn from the mistakes that these people made. Because you can tell that these people are big fans of Invincible, and that's why they're pulling it together to make it happen. Also, Amazon Games might do their own game, and then there would be direct competition. Like, I don't think they have the sole rights to the IP. So.
Yeah. No,
I think that'd be very, very.
But
yeah, that would be very.
But it would be weird for them not to be the ones to back it, because it is one. And Amazon has been.
Maybe they're not backing
lately.
it because Amazon is already doing production for something and they just haven't announced it yet.
No, that could be true.
There's a lot of things going on in the background that like we don't know about. I mean.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to give a quick shout out to the OG feed, because y'all beating the shorts feed ass right now. Shout out to Drake Williams and the shorts feed who came out and said the OG feed is back on top. For now, I haven't lost faith in the shorts feed.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I run the shorts feed. Hugger runs the OG feed. And I haven't lost faith in the shorts feed. I got some gameplay going for y'all in the shorts feed right now. Huh? I got some gameplay going over there on the source feed, and y'all gonna do me like this? It's okay. We'll be back on top.
You jumped fence so quickly. Can't do that.
But I'm not jumping right now. Like I'm gonna stick it out. Source feed will be back on top. We'll be back on top at some point. You know, for the people who over there holding on, I appreciate y'all. OG feed people, I appreciate y'all. Hit the like button whenever the feed you on. But Hugs, I'm gonna switch to you. Number one, are you an Invincible fan? Chat, y'all get down with Invincible? Hug, you an Invincible fan? You got any worries about this being a crowd-funded AAA title? Because you brought up Shenmue, and it was crowd-funded AAA, but who bought it?
I don't know. I don't know any single person that has a copy or admits to having a copy. But isn't it okay? Isn't in essence this the pinnacle of gaming of fans buying something and then trying to make it their own to keep it out of the hands of something else? Like if I had the money and I had the backing that these guys got in a year or less than a year, raising 18 million, I'd be like, okay, we can give this an honest to God shot. And I'm going to applaud it until we see what comes out, because it could be dookie butter. It could be the greatest thing ever. But this is, in essence, what gaming is. Just some fans who really love stuff making it.
Yeah.
And then these fans turned into companies that got soulless. But this is what gaming is. And I'm going to rock with it. And if it fails, it fails. And if it doesn't, then it is a stone for the next person to be like, okay, they made these mistakes. Like Des said, they made these mistakes. So let's try this way. And it could really...
I just don't want
bring
this
a new
IP to fail.
vibe.
I love this IP.
It can't.
I don't think you should worry about that.
They'll retcon it out.
Yeah, I don't think you should worry about that, because it won't. Nobody will look on the IP as like the IP messed up. They'll look at the studio as the studio.
Because the Korra games never hurt Avatar. The Avatar games are ass, and they've never hurt that IP.
Listen, what we not gonna do? The Legend of Korra game was alright. It was basic, indie, $5 game. But that Legend of Korra $5 was worth it. I would have paid $7 for it.
But it didn't hurt the IP, so that's the whole thing. Like, I wouldn't worry about a game ruining an entire IP. Otherwise, like, Marvel would be just
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Marvel, DC, all of them.
What
Marvel v Capcom?
What Marvel game was bad? I know you ain't talking about Avengers, because that game was heat.
I wasn't talking about
Fame. There's like games from the 90s.
You realize, that there are tons of games.
I'm just making sure we ain't got no Avengers game slander.
Oh no, Avengers.
No.
Avengers.
Looking at the poll so far, I'm gonna leave this poll up for a while. The chat is saying that a good game. I asked the chat, can a good AAA game be made from crowdfunding? So far, we are 71% yes. On the OG feed, the short feed is 100%
if you have
no.
A studio, if you have a studio that knows what it's doing and knows, and I think sometimes it's really good when a fan of an IP is making the game because it's a passion project and they really are trying to stay true to what the game is, what the IP is. I think it's possible as long as they have a studio with the capabilities of doing it. Now, putting AAA on it is over-promising something, which might bite them in the ass later. Like, I think if they just said, we plan on making the best damn, like, Invincible game that we can, that probably would have been better than them trying to throw on an arbitrary AAA, AA, any of that. Because nobody cares about that right now. Yeah. People just want the game because they like what the game is about. Doesn't matter if it's indie or AAA.
No, it's 100%.
Look at Cult of the Lamb. Smashed out of the water most games.
Yeah.
Then we got like
Fane,
Don
you're
in the
vile
chat.
for that.
What I did.
I just scrolled down to the meme. You vile for that.
Listen, I better watch out for No Diddy. Hold on. I finally can do this now. Can y'all hear this? Hold on. I can do it now. I told y'all from last week. I told y'all it was coming.
Gonna be mad. Yobi's gonna be mad that you took time to do that, but I bet you still didn't get the emojis done, did you? Yo.
You know, that's gonna get done today.
We even sent pictures.
I sent pictures. They're waiting on your picture.
I don't know if I did.
I've been waiting on boardies and huggers forever. But I do got Dez's.
I just said basically get up.
Get up. Speaking of Final Fantasy VII, now PlayStation fans, don't be upset with me. I only report the news and give opinions about it. It's not my fault, right? So apparently, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is not doing so well, right? It is currently tracking behind Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, I want to give a caveat because I do think this is very important when it comes to context, right? There's two things. Number one, Final Fantasy 16. If you're comparing it to what we're seeing from Final Fantasy 7, when we like Daniel Amaz, whatever his name is. And a lot of analysts are saying, hey, it's still around what Final Fantasy 16 did, which is falling behind Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, right? So a lot of people naturally are saying, hey, this is a failure in some ways, this is a flop in some ways, but I want people to keep in mind that Final Fantasy 7 Remake was on PS4 and PS5, right? So you got 100 million users who have the opportunity to play Remake on the PS4, right? Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is only on PlayStation 5, right? So I think naturally it makes sense for it to not to be selling as many copies as Final Fantasy 7 Remake. However, my question to the chat and my question to the panel, Hugs, I'm gonna start with you. Seeing how we're constantly hearing from Square Enix when they drop a game, they haven't said it about this title, but they'll come out and say this game is not meeting expectations. This game, it's always something negative when it comes to after a game releases, we hear from Square Enix, right? Was it a mistake by Square Enix not to release this game multi-platform? Because it seems like they are building up more relationship with Xbox. Now they dropped Final Fantasy 14 finally, and then we're constantly hearing how, hey, more is coming. And I'm not just strictly talking about Xbox. We're talking PC as well, more so PC. Was it a mistake from Square Enix to say, you know what, we're going to continue to put our flagship Final Fantasy game, our biggest title, strictly on one console, knowing the fact that the PS5 doesn't have nearly as many consoles out in the market as PS4? This was the opportunity to say, you know what, we're going thank you for the money, PlayStation, but is the money worth it for me to say, you know what, I'm not going to release this on PC right now, or I'm not going to release this on Xbox at all, right? Was it a mistake by Square Enix? What's going on, D? Go ahead, Hugs.
I mean, I think Square Enix has made a shit ton of mistakes. I mean, selling off Tomb Raider, you're gonna sell off Laura? I'm always gonna forever be salty about that, but I think it might have been a mistake for gamers because we want to play it, but for Square Enix, they beat to their own drum and they really don't care what we say or do, and they are going to hoard and covet Final Fantasy the way they want to, and there's really nothing we can do about it. We might want it multi-plat, but they clearly don't, unless they can milk more money. But I have no faith in Square Enix business decisions, and trying to understand them lately has been like, no, Grandpa, we're not doing this. Square Enix doesn't know what they're doing.
D, welcome to the podcast. You here, boss? Come through. Huh?
Muted.
You're muted, bro. I see your Avi moving. Oh man, that was very riveting what you just said, bro. Dez, I'm gonna swing over to you, Dez. Was it a mistake from Square Enix to skip Xbox and PC?
I don't think it was a mistake because, one, I think this game has been in the planning for a long time and nobody expected COVID to happen and kind of like wipe things out the way that it did. Before COVID happened, everybody was hyped and everybody, like just the way that PlayStation 4 sold out and things like that, like the same expectation was there for PlayStation 5. But because like we had something happen that was unprecedented, we'd never had a situation like that. It just hurt their sales. The development for this game had started for PS5 only before we even had all of this drama hit with COVID and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of too late for them to go back and be like, okay, let's put it on other stuff, right? Because the plan had always been to just release it on PS5 because, and I think from past decisions, I think the only bad decision that I wouldn't have done is I think there's too much time between each of the drops for this game. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it kind of like falls off after a while. Like people were super hyped. You got to play the first remake. It was great. And then you had to wait like 2 or 3 years for the next one.
Yeah.
So now you almost got to like go and replay the original again.
You know what I mean? And then it's
I still haven't played remake yet.
Right? The hype hype dies down. Now, if we want to talk about this game being a success, like the scores, this game is a success.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even though they're saying that it's trailing behind, like that, they had to have known that when they were going to release it, because there's not enough opportunity for everybody to play it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was unfortunate because nobody saw COVID coming. I mean, you have people out there who still don't have a PS5.
Yeah.
So apparently, Square Enix has yet to provide any concrete information about this, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of these analytic companies are using PS5 daily active user data, and they're saying that it has surpassed at least 2 million copies since it launched February 29th. So Final Fantasy VII Remake, the original PS4 version, managed 3.5 million sales in just 3 days. So we're talking.
I believe it. People have been waiting for that game for a long time.
A long time.
A long time. So like that does not surprise me, especially all the hype they put into it that they were going to remake it. And I think what helped carry that over, and I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me or not, but the fact that they had the characters in Kingdom Hearts and they were like, what, you can put the characters in Kingdom Hearts, but you still can't make a remake? Like, what is going on?
I remember
people,
that. Yeah.
Huge fans of the Final Fantasy franchise have been waiting a really long time for this to drop. Like when they released, I think it was Advent Children, everybody was pissed off. They were like, "What is this?" Because they were making a Final Fantasy movie. I was in college when that dropped, and people were like, "This is not Final Fantasy VII." Like, what is this?
If you take away,
eventually 20 years later,
we did 20 years later. That's my only beef with them, is that they wait too long to do things. Like, I think they should have planned this out where they were dropping a year afterwards. Give people a year to play through the game and enjoy it, and then by the next year we're dropping the next part.
You don't think a year would have been too close?
Like, no, because they originally released the game all together on 4 discs. No, I don't think it would have been too close.
And because it's not a sequel and a prequel, it's the same game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's facts. And if you take away the Xbox and PC aspect of it, right, what the question is, did they make a mistake skipping Xbox and PC? If you just purely compare it to, so we got Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then Final Fantasy 16, right? We talked about how Remake sold 3.5 million in just 3 days. However, it had that massive player base for the PS4. Now, Final Fantasy 16 is exactly the same as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, as in it's only on PS5, right? So Final Fantasy 16 sold 3 million at launch versus a little over 2 million. Now, again, we don't have concrete numbers that go on, but this is what these analysts are predicting as far as how the data goes from the PS5 data. A little over 2 million in 2 months for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth versus 3 million at launch for 16. Dez might have a point, or do people just kind of like, I don't care no more because it's been so long. Because I didn't see as much hype for Rebirth as I saw for Remake.
Yeah, I also want to know if they're taking into account when these two games were released, like within the year, right? So if you usually drop a game before the holidays, it's gonna sell, right?
That's true.
If you drop a game after the holidays. And it's not before tax season, it's not around tax season, your sales are not going to be the same. So I don't know. The fact that Square Enix hasn't come out and said that they feel like it's a failure, I don't know if they think it's a failure. Maybe they predicted it was going to be around this much and they're happy with it.
Final Fantasy
I don't know.
Didn't we take this as a good sign? What fame?
No, I'm sorry. I think I got messed up for it. But Final Fantasy VII Rebirth released in February, and Final Fantasy 16 released last June. Just for context about when the stuff was released. Go ahead.
June makes sense because that's when people are out for school. So if they you're going to get more sales during the summer. February, there's nothing really happening, and that's too close to after the holidays. People are still broke. It's not me trying to be funny.
When did the 14 DLC come out?
Yeah, when did that come out?
DLC for Final Fantasy 14?
Shadowbringers? Yeah, the MMO. Because the Final Fantasy community, they fiend. But if you're in online, you don't really, I don't know, play these games.
It's not the same,
Dallas,
right?
Are you live?
Yeah, I'm here.
July
you're
2nd,
so
Oh, you low as
quiet.
hell.
Yeah, D, you low.
July 2nd.
It
Shout
came
out to
out when?
THX1138 on the short $2
2019.
super chat. He says Sony forced Square Enix to skip PS4, forcing You know, THX, I'm with you. I think your previous comment says they made a mistake skipping the PS14, they made a mistake skipping the PS4. I can 100% see that. I don't know necessarily. I think if Sony forced them to skip PS4, I can see the theory because you want to boost the PS. Yeah, damn too, because they want to boost the PS5 sales.
Yeah,
right? Don't release it on PS4. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But then also, what kind of game are we getting in a AAA space that releases on PS4? Can you imagine? Like, hey, here's the next newest, biggest budget game. It's also releasing on PS4 and Xbox One. Could you imagine how trash that game would be?
But why do we
don't have to imagine. Cyberpunk.
Why Dallas so low? Hold on, I'm gonna turn him up on my end.
You still real low, Dallas.
Oh,
I'm gonna turn you up on my end. Cause he about to make a point. He say, why do y'all?
Yeah, he was.
He about to get mad, boy. That avatar hand was about to be wacky, waving, flailing, inflatable, flailing on tube, man.
Dallas.
Did I say that right? Wacky, waving, flailing, flinging, inflatable arm
wacky
tube,
waving,
man.
inflatable arm, flailing two men.
There you go. I was close enough.
Oh damn.
Okay, there we go, D.
That's like saying nowadays everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but it comes out when the movie. That's what I heard.
When did you relate? Motherfuckers actually they forgot about Dre. Yeah.
But my bad. Go ahead, D.
Why do we think that would have moved the needle at all?
And what would have moved the needle?
Like, would that releasing it on PS4? Like, why would we think that would?
Because you got 100 million
consoles
consoles.
at this point in. That's true, but how many of those people? How many of those people? Right, are people who have been waiting on part 2 of this remake? 9 times out of 10, if this is something you've been waiting on for the years that you've been waiting on it, you probably want to play it in the best way possible, or at least what you might see is the best way possible. And those people are not also people who I just don't think those are the same people.
So you don't feel if Rebirth dropped on PS4 that wouldn't be a great assortment of people who wouldn't buy it on PS4? Because I think there's still millions upon millions of people who can't afford a PS5 right now, so they would have played
what you can afford right now.
But I don't think it would have made as big a difference as multiplayer would.
Oh, so what you're saying was like they'd been better off releasing it on PC as well, day and date.
If you released it on Xbox and PC, you probably would have seen the results you were looking for. That's all I'm saying. I don't think releasing it on PS4 would have had nearly the same amount of impact as it would have on just full on making it multiplayer.
I think that makes sense. I think though, if COVID hadn't hit, it probably would have made a dent. I think because COVID hit, people were not able to get the PS5. And so, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if they had released it on the PS4, it would have been really smart just because COVID did hit and not many people could get a PS5. So they're like, if I can't get a PS5, then I'm just going to buy it on PS4 and play it. But I've personally always thought that you should make your games backwards compatible because the experience that you have on the new console, you obviously, if you're a gamer, you obviously don't expect that same experience on an older version. And if you do, you're stupid. It's not going to be the same. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not.
Technology changes. Like, I think when we were talking about computers and stuff, like you literally, like once you buy like something for a computer, it's already out of date within like a month. So, but I do think they need to make things backwards compatible. I don't know why they don't, but I definitely think they do. Like,
but what's the limit on that though? How far would you say that should go?
If it's around the time that you're releasing a new console, then I think any game that you're going to put on a new console, you should make backwards compatible. So if it's like within that sweet spot of like the new console hasn't come out yet, but we plan on putting new games on this new console, then it should still be backwards compatible. Because you have to realize that not everybody's going to run out and buy the new console if the old one still
And
works. Go
old
ahead.
games can come forward. Why can't new games go backwards? A little bit.
Yeah.
Because then Fallout 4 is getting a new update that's bringing it to the new generation, which is messing with a lot of people's old generation stuff, like mods. So, I mean, you can bring it forward. You can send it back. There's obviously demand for it, especially games like this.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
it's-
PlayStation
We're talking
used to
about it
do
should.
backwards compatibility. They used to do it. So I'm just like, why'd you stop? Now I get it.
'Cause they
Like
can't
10
keep
years
selling
from
us the
now,
same games.
if you, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Because they can't keep selling us the same games if they do that.
What do you mean?
Like if they made everything backwards compatible, they couldn't sell us that game.
People would
every
still buy the
generation.
You would
newest.
still have to buy it. Yeah. You would still buy
People would
it.
still buy it.
Yeah.
But
It
isn't
does not
the
matter.
issue here
People
more
buy it.
talking about forwards? I don't know if it maybe I'm confused or we're getting lost in the shuffle. We're talking about backwards compatibility, and we're talking more so because the conversation was, should Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that just dropped this year, is that something that would be actually playable on a PS4? I don't know if backwards compatibility would.
Well, that's a part of backwards compatibility. Like if it's backwards compatibility,
Wouldn't that be forwards
if it has
compatibility?
there could be, but you
Could be
wouldn't.
forwards and backwards.
Yeah, you wouldn't usually do forwards compatibility because you would just make the game for the newest one, and then you would have to go in and make sure that it can play on the old system as well.
So do you think
make
it'd be more beneficial for Square Enix to release it on a far inferior version of the game on PS4 versus releasing the same version on PC and Xbox?
It wouldn't be the same version. You can't put the same version exactly on. Like there's different
fidelity
things in the
wise.
background for development.
Fidelity
right there.
wise.
Because I can't imagine there's too many teams really itching to like make a bunch of versions of the game that they really trying hard to get one version to work.
But if they're looking for money, Dallas, they will, because people ate up Witcher on Switch, and I do not get
And
that.
that's trash. I'm sorry.
People it on with what's available. Okay, and I think that's not something we're not talking about, is the availability of these things. And if people don't have the money to buy a PS5 or a brand new Xbox or like a gaming PC, they're going to buy the game on what they can play it on.
That's true.
It doesn't matter where we
100%
think
true.
it should be, because
that's 100.
I would never play The Witcher on Switch.
Hell
I would
no.
absolutely never. But if all you had was a Switch and you really wanted to play the game,
look how long.
If that's all you had, yeah, because you probably don't know no better. Because Switch is for exclusives. Like I use my PS5 for exclusives, but Switch is for exclusives because you have lost your mind. You think I'm gonna play something like The Witcher on the Switch, and that's extremely. People talk about they hate 30 frames per second. Now that's what you playing on the Switch version.
but that's because
But
you're
if that's all you got, baby.
If that's all you got, that's all you got.
That's valid, but I don't give.
We can't put a but on that though.
If it's me. Not if I'm, or not if I am the majority of people who can, like, delay the Switch version. Look how long it takes for those games to come out, but don't delay the overall game, because I think that's what would end up happening eventually, is the game won't release until every version is working.
Oh no. That would not happen, because investors want their money now. So they're going to release it on whatever, and then the other versions would come out later. That's what happens now anyways, right? So for example, Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate, right? It was released on PC first, and then later they released it on Xbox. I mean, there was a whole bunch of crap about that, but they're going to release it on the platform that they've advertised it for. So if they said they've advertised it for PS5, then that's what they're going to release it on. And then later, depending on how the sales go and things like that, they'll have that conversation on whether they want to port it to something else. Porting to something else, like porting a game like that to another system, is what costs a lot of money. And it's a lot of time, especially if you didn't plan it. So my thing is that I think they planned for it to be on PS5, but then COVID hit and it messed everything up. Like, it really changed a lot when it comes to the gaming industry, when it comes to our physical events, when it comes to how we release games, when it comes to how we market games. Like, it really changed a lot. We are just now getting back to kind of like what it used to be pre-COVID. So nobody planned for COVID to happen, and it just fucked up a lot of people's marketing.
I wanna reference something inside the OG chat. Number one, shout out to the OG chat for making a comeback. Baron, we see you in the short stream, trying to make me feel better because the short stream is getting his ass whooped right now. I appreciate you though for being over there. I want to reference something that's happening in the chat right now because they're bringing up Spider-Man 2, and I want to make sure and if I got this right in context, because they're saying Spider-Man 2 is it on PS4, and did it have? And I haven't seen the Spider-Man 2's numbers, but I don't think it had quite the big drop off as far as comparing Rebirth to Final Fantasy VII Remake. And then I see Baron brought up Hogwarts Legacy in the short stream, and so does Drake in the OG stream. But Hogwarts Legacy released on newer consoles and then later released on last gen consoles and Switch, right? So that kind of goes to what we were talking about earlier. Where Dez was saying, release it there, which Hogwarts Legacy to Drake and Baron's point is it makes sense. Release it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on PS5. You got and then work on the PS4 version. THX 1138. Shout out to you, man, with the $5 super chat on the shorts feed. That's love, my bro. He said Spider-Man 1 sold 36 million on PS4. Sony left a lot of those PS4 players by making Spider-Man 2 only on PS5, losing player and money. And that is a hell of a point. And that kind of goes with what everyone's been talking about, right? So you had 36 million on PS4, made the PS5 version, and completely skipped the PS4 version, right? Regardless of, it's because of the SSD, you could have made a version that was palpable because we seen
Skyrim is everywhere.
Skyrim is everywhere. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, right? It can't be made without the PS5's SSD. Meanwhile, someone with a regular hard drive can play it on their PC, which lets me know it's not. There's things you can do. So THX made a hell of a point. Thank you for following super chat, man. Because that makes 100%. That makes sense. I'm not sure why Sony didn't go back and make Spider-Man 2 on PS4. Same thing could have did with Rebirth on PS4. But I think ultimately, if Square Enix wants to be successful, they're going to have to let go of this exclusive thing. Like, they're going to have to, at bare minimum, and this is not me saying, it needs to release on Xbox. I'm thinking they need to release this on PC a hell of a lot sooner. Don't wait 3 or 4 years. I don't think you can do that, especially newer in the generation, where if you're going to release it on one platform and there's not as many consoles out, why would you handcuff yourself by not releasing it on PC?
I mean, they might release it on PC. We don't know yet. I mean, the game hasn't been out long enough to say that they're not going to do it. And they themselves have not said anything.
And I totally agree. I think they will. I don't understand why you wouldn't just do it now.
I think they just didn't. Maybe they're working on the porting. It's not that easy.
I get that.
Yeah, it's not that easy. So maybe they were waiting
or I
to
could
see
not
how
get
this was going to sell.
Or I can not get it and I can argue with you like I'm Baron.
You could.
But I'm not going to.
You get it, though.
Because I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Dallas, I saw your Abby moving, bro. Were you trying to say something? It's difficult.
No,
It's difficult because you'll see his Abby randomly like mouth open up, like, you cut the lights off, you see somebody open their eyes and smile. Like, that's what happened, right? I was like, he's trying to say something.
That's creepy.
See, cartoons live by different rules than
That's true. Because they don't die. I used to think when I was little, like, it would take a lot to kill me because I grew up watching like Bugs Bunny and stuff. And they would get hit by cars and have anvils dropped on them, and they would it would hurt a little bit, but they just dust it off. Be fine.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're still alive.
Don't ever see anvils in real life.
Bruh.
Listen, I'm about to end both polls, and the short feed is 100%. They said that Square Enix made a mistake skipping Xbox and PC for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And on the OG feed, 90% of the votes said that Square Enix made a mistake by skipping Xbox and PC for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I guess I should have asked the poll, different polls, and asked did they make a mistake skipping the PS4 because I think we all can agree, looking back at what Hogwarts Legacy did, like it kind of made a mistake. We hear so much about how gaming is more expensive, and that's why we're seeing layoffs, and they want to make as much money as possible. And there's a possibility of games being $100 or the price of gaming rising. I don't know why, as a third-party developer, third-party publisher, why you would make your games exclusive. Or at bare minimum, why wouldn't you make your games also on PC? If I'm a third-party developer and Xbox comes to me or PlayStation comes to me about a game, I'm gonna say, hey, I'm releasing this on PC as well. The money you can get, we can release it later. We can release it later. And you're right. It's about how much money they get up front, because a lot of times it's about instant gratification. You think about why they put game A on Game Pass, or why game A went on PS Plus, because they got that instant gratification. And I 100% get that. I just don't know if that's always going to be the case of, am I going to, what they say, cut off your nose to spite your face? Like, hey, I'm gonna get this right now, but what am I doing to this game long term? Right? Because if this game releases on PC, let's say, and this is how I'm thinking about it. Chat and panel, let me know if I'm thinking about this completely the wrong way. Right? If I'm releasing a game and I choose not to release it on PC, but I release it on PS5, there are so many games that hit and so many games that drop. I'm not willing to bet that, I don't care how good my game is, that people are going to come back to it later on. Because we're constantly moving on to the next game, right? I mean, you got those outliers. You got Fortnite, you got Apex, you got Call of, you got those outliers, right? I'm not for certain, especially if I'm an indie developer, that you're going to come back to my game later on, especially if you're on PC and you got the crazy amount of assortment of games. I'm not confident that I can release this game and then 3 years later I say, hey, it's on PC, go buy it now, when you probably got to climb up or up jump or foot skip, lick, whatever case may be, game come out that goes super viral and you don't care about my game no more. So I'd rather say, you know what, I'm going to release my game now. If you want to give me a bag, the bag I'm going to take is me not releasing it on PlayStation, me not releasing it on Xbox, but I got to go get this PC bag. Huh?
Right.
I just want you to say the name of that game one more time.
What was it?
All the way up.
I don't know. The funny thing is people will go back and buy it and just not play it. How many games have you gone back and bought that are sitting in your library that you just haven't played because something new?
Okay, Des.
Why are you calling us out? It's not me trying to call you out. I'm just saying people will go back and buy it and be like, I'll just play it later when I have time.
I bought a game the other day on Xbox only because it was 99 cents.
Yep, see?
It was on sale from $10 to 99 cents. I'll never download it to my console.
Right. Games that I've watched people play on YouTube and was like, oh, this looks good, let me go buy it, and then have bought it, but then because I didn't have time, just finished watching them play it. So I just have the game there.
No,
at some point
I did that with Life is Strange.
Yeah. Finish every game you touch like a real gamer. Otherwise, you're a filthy freaking casual.
I'll be the first to say if that is the caliber of what a real gamer is. I'm
not a real gamer. I will drop a game like I drop my keys my every day. I don't care. I don't care.
Bad habit.
Yeah, I bought Alan Wake.
Finish your games if I feel like it.
And what's the name of the other game? It was a few pretty recent games.
Yeah.
You know how many I finished?
None. One.
None of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
none.
Not the Zoom.
None.
I think the last game I finished like completely was Divinity Original Sin 2.
Oh, damn.
Not when it first came out. I played that game much later in its lifespan. But that's the last one like I've finished. But then I play a lot of like open world survival games, so that's another reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm about to ask.
Even if you love games, it's hard to finish them.
That's
because
true.
I'm having trouble finishing Baldur's, and I love that game.
People
But
are
I'm just
already on their third playthrough. Look, I put Baldur's Gate down when I realized I didn't want to lose a party member and I had to go all the way back to like make it work.
nope.
And I was just like, yeah,
Let's see how
I didn't
much.
even finish it.
I'm asking,
Fame just
I
dropped
put a
this
poll in the
poll.
chat because I want to know: do you finish all the games you play?
Yeah, let's see how many
No.
people cap.
And I return games on Steam if I don't
And
like
don't
them.
lie.
Yup.
Listen, don't
Yeah.
lie.
God damn. I ain't
Be
got
honest.
that
Keep
no
it a
more.
buck. It's
Yeah.
anonymous. Ain't nobody gonna know. But tell the truth. Do you finish all the
Yeah,
games
I
you play?
absolutely return.
And I'm not
You
saying
know
the
what's
game.
crazy? I feel like when it was just like way back in the 90s and stuff, we actually used to
When you
finish
ain't got,
games.
yeah.
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 You
We
had to because
actually,
that was your game of the year.
yeah. You used to, yeah, right? You got like 2 games.
And there was no save points. It was like it's usually you got to beat it in one sitting.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
You had to
Look at the
fast
honesty in the chat. Some people being honest. They saying no. And I'm not talking about a bad game. Drop a bad game. I'm talking about a game that you enjoying.
Oh yeah.
You just
Yeah.
pick up something else and never go back to it. Keep it a buck.
Yeah,
Most of
not
us
a
don't
lot of
finish.
silly
If you
games.
compare, if you look at the completion percentage, if you compare the games you play versus you finish, you're it's a very small. It's like how many people own a yacht. It's a very small percentage. Just being
Oh,
honest.
yeah.
Are y'all like the type of people who actually, when you go back to a game after a long time, can actually play it? Because me, a lot of times I either
I'll
have to go
restart
through a
it.
tutorial again or complete exactly.
Sometimes I
I'll
do
be
because
having
I
Depends.
forget where
I
I
don't
was
remember
at in the
nothing.
game. Yeah, I don't remember anything. Like, okay,
Like,
I
I
have a
remember.
Game Boy Advance and I have Castlevania on it. And there's this part where I can't get past because I can't find the shoes that make you jump really high. Listen, I started playing this game when I was probably 24. And because I cannot get past that one part and cannot figure it out, I have not played any of the other new Castlevanias because deep down inside, I'm like, I have to beat this game in order to play the other ones, or I'm a fraud.
Girl. That game gave you psychological trauma to
Yeah.
finish the rest of the
Like,
series.
I haven't finished it. So,
And
am I gonna finish it? Probably not.
Nope.
That makes me think about anybody that could be watching this, be it now or in the future. And you looking at us with disgust right now, you freaking nerds. You mean to tell me you play these games, you don't finish any of? Listen,
Not
ask yourself
any,
one question.
but not
Ask
all.
yourself one. Well, yeah, you don't finish
Yeah.
a good percentage.
Yeah.
No.
Ask yourself one question: did you beat Skyrim?
Amen. All the way through. Twice.
That's all I'm saying. How many of us call ourselves hardcore
How many games do you
gamers, but-
guys finish a year?
Oh, it varies a lot.
I finished Grounded.
Or what? Okay. But I do want to get to the next topic, but I got to
Credits
ask.
roll.
What's a hardcore gamer?
Believe
What is
any
a
titles
hardcore
like
gamer?
that. Because you can have a
The
grandma.
South Park meme.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
can
The
have
World
a
of Warcraft.
grandma who only plays Minecraft all day, every day, and to me that would be hardcore.
That's hardcore.
Because she's dedicated. I think it's stupid when
And
people are like,
you
"You're
could
not
play
a
on the
hardcore
phone.
gamer." You could play, yeah,
You could play COD on the phone.
It's not
bruh.
exact.
Once human is on phones now, and I don't even understand. I don't even understand. Mobile is about to come up. It's about to blow up when it comes to like games. It's
I
crazy.
think hardcore is not a
Yeah,
definition. I
mobile
think
games
it's
pretty
a
hard.
way for people to be exclusionary.
Exactly. Same.
You are not a part of my group if you are not hardcore.
And I'm
don't
okay
even
not
think
being a
it
part of
was.
that
I
group.
think
I'm gonna
it
tell you right
became that.
now. I play what I want to play when I want to play it, and I think you're wasting your energy judging me for what I do and how often I do it if I'm playing the game. Like, why are you worried about that?
I think it just became that. I think like the people, like this community's chads that are only chads within this community. You know what I mean? Like them. I think they kind of turned into that, but I don't really think that's what it is. I think it's a general term for people who play a lot of video games. It means nothing
Like, you
more
could
than
just say
that's
gamer.
that's a broad spectrum there. It's a broad
What's
spectrum
wrong
of
with it
things
being
that
a
could
broad
But how are
spectrum
we
as
to
long as you're
dictate
playing
what?
that's the
games?
point that
Yeah.
I'm making. I don't think
Okay.
that's the point that I'm making. It really is like I think hardcore gamer just refers to that spectrum of people. It's not really specific to anything, and because that spectrum is so broad, because gaming has grown so much, people who consider themselves that that's the image of it, but they'll look at somebody else who also fits that and don't see that same image. Well, of course you don't. It's a lot of us.
Yeah. I think gaming has
Imagine
always
forcing
been
yourself into a group to be different from others.
Bruh. I think gaming has always been kind of broad. I think marketing kind of fucked it up for a while where they pushed it for boys versus girls. And then they, that whole division of like blue is for boys and pink is for, you know what I'm saying? So like for a long time, they were even trying to make consoles that were like gender focused, right? So there's a console that was in Japan. I can't remember what it's called, but it actually like the games on it were like designer games. You could print stickers, like physical stickers from the console. Like, look it up. It's in Japan. I want one because it's crazy. But
I kind of want it.
Yeah. But it's always been like this, like against the sexes. And so when you think about it historically, a lot of people who are saying you're not a hardcore gamer have been men talking to females and telling them they're not real gamers because of the types of games that they play. But I feel like that kind of got really bad in the 90s and just progressed and turned into really, really toxic shit. Because one of my favorite pictures is of this mom with all of her sons around her and she's playing the Game Boy and like beating a level for them, right? Because I mean, like everybody was playing games then. It wasn't about like being like, if you think about arcades and things like that, there were boys and girls in arcades. So there's at some point we got very toxic. And I think it comes from, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of the toxicity comes from FPS players.
Yeah.
And MOBA players.
And MOBA players. I think a lot of it comes from that. Because listen, dudes who play like Animal Crossing, and there are dudes who play Animal Crossing, so I don't want to hear it, aren't looking at girls who play Animal Crossing and being like, you ain't playing it right. You know what I mean? It's not toxic like that.
I want to ask a question because I got to switch it to the last topic. A question from Bordy. I did do an AMA. What is the most casual game, like casual perceived game that you pump serious hours in? For me, it's Call of Duty.
Oh man, I already know. No, it ain't. No, it ain't for you.
What is it?
You think Call of Duty is casual?
For you?
Hell yeah!
Call of Duty's not casual.
No, it's
I
not.
guarantee if you think
you don't think Madden. Well, Madden
Is
probably
Madden.
Madden, 2K, and COD aren't casual.
No, when I think of a casual game, I'm thinking like Tetris or something like that. I think those games are stressful because you're trying to like. There's an intensity when you play Call of Duty, unless you're just sitting there doing Duck Hunt.
Okay, I poured hours into the most casual game ever, Candy Crush.
Yep, that's casual.
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush for sure.
I think
What was that,
Madden.
Cookie Clicker?
I'm not gonna say it.
Madden,
Cookie
2K,
Clicker is
those are
casual.
games.
You can literally leave that game. I think those are games you enjoy, but they're not
Casual to me is games my mom is gonna play.
Like
Yeah.
That's casual.
A lot of people play.
You know
My
why I
play Call of
disagree?
Duty
I disagree because you got
because there's
like,
Skyrim
when
grandma
Sony
and there's
when
parents who do
Sony
play.
initially make the PS4. What did they say? Hey, our target audience is the casual gamers, and that's why they went after COD. That's why they went after the 2K. They went after the 2K license, not license.
But when do we listen to Sony?
I think that's why they said that.
I mean,
I don't think that's why they said that, and I don't think those two
Why did,
things
yeah, if you look, they went the most casual route you could think of. We want the marketing deal
But
for 2K.
Call of Duty-
We want the
Call of
marketing
Duty
deal for
is not-
COD. We want the marketing deal for Madden because they wanted to be
Right.
the casual box. You ain't playing
But
Candy
that's
Crush
not-
on PS4.
But that's not a casual game.
Yeah, it is.
Call of Duty is no.
It's
no,
Fortnite
it's
for
not.
casuals.
Not anymore.
Nope.
Hell yeah, it
Nope.
is.
Fortnite
Not
is not
anymore.
casual either. I think you have to have a certain skill set to play those. I think casual games are very chill. Like you can walk away from it and not stress about it. Do you know what I'm saying? Call of Duty, it
Aren't
takes a
those
lot
cozy
of skill.
games?
Tetris?
No, some of those are stressful
Cozy.
as hell too.
Well, what's your definition?
Stardew
of
stresses
cozy?
me out.
Stardew is kind of stressful. Yeah, you got to get those crops.
But those are cozy games.
Oh my god.
Those are cozy, yeah.
I don't
But
consider
wouldn't
those
necessarily-
casual. And I don't think Tetris or any
Neither do
phone
I.
game is considered
I
casual.
I don't think those are. I think Tetris is pretty casual.
I think it's a different. Thank you, Wall Diggity. Somebody agrees with me in the chat. I think COD, FIFA, 2K, Madden, all those are casual games to me.
Uh-oh.
I think the
I don't
casual gamer, the gamer that's all they buy. Right? When I think of a casual gamer with a console, right? Someone considers themselves a casual gamer with a console. What are they playing? It ain't Tetris.
I don't know because I don't know any.
I don't know
It's
any
Call of
that
Duty.
do that. But that just because you're a gamer and you play Call of Duty doesn't mean that that's okay. Maybe to you,
If that's all
feel
you
that
play,
that's casual. Okay, I want to. You know what? We should do like a thing on Twitter, and I think you should ask people if they consider Call of Duty a casual game, because I think it takes a certain amount of skill to play that game well. I think for a casual game, it's almost a no-brainer to play. You're not putting a lot of thought into it. You can't do that with Call of Duty, or you're gonna get shot. You can't do that with football or Madden, because you're gonna lose. You can't play those games casually. When I think of like a casual game, I think of a button smasher, where you can just button smash your way through the game. I think of like.
Do you not think casual gamers own consoles?
No, I think casual gamers own consoles.
So what are they playing?
But it doesn't necessarily mean they're playing Call of Duty. How many games? There are tons of games that come out on console that are not Call of Duty and Madden and sports games. I think that's what you enjoy, and for you, that's casual. But I think for like the average game player, they would not say that Call of Duty or Fortnite were casual games. That's what I think.
I'm about to turn into Baron at this moment.
You can.
No, it's agree to disagree.
Yeah.
No. We definitely gonna agree. I don't know what happened to Dallas, but we agree to disagree. I think.
Like
AAA.
Okay with you thinking that.
Like AAA, I think there are so many different avenues you can look at of what this means. Right, I think you can look at what does AAA mean, what does casual mean, and it's great. We all have different opinions. It's just for me, and maybe because I am considered a hardcore gamer, right? And there's a different variation of what people think that means, right? Is a casual gamer someone who plays a lot of games? To me, as a hardcore gamer, I look at stuff like Madden, 2K, MLB The Show, all the sports games, COD. I look at Forza as a casual game, right? And maybe I'm looking at casual as in like sports games or something that's easy to pick up or something that you only play because it's the most popular game, right? I consider.
Would you, if somebody had never played? Okay, so when I'm thinking about player friendly and user, like if it's easy for someone to pick up, you are into sports, you are into COD. For somebody who's never played football, for somebody who's never played an FPS, do you think that those games are easy for someone to just pick up like that? Because when I think about casual games, I think of something that's it's an easily playable game. When I think casual, I think Animal Crossing.
It doesn't have to be easy for them to pick up. It just has to be popular.
Those turnips.
Yeah,
it has to be popular.
Listen, I was doing that, and I don't think it has to be. I don't think popularity and casual.
Because someone with a PS5, and I say, "Oh man, you game? Yeah, man, what you play? I bought the new Spider-Man 2. Oh, that's great, man. Did you play Baldur's Gate? What is that? I never heard of that. They're probably a casual gamer. They bought Spider-Man because it's a big IP and it's Spider-Man. They're a casual gamer. If I say, "Hey, man, what do you think of the upcoming Fable game?" What the hell are you talking about? But if I say, "Hey, think of a popular game," hey, but they know the super uber big IP popular games. That's all they know. It's because they're a casual gamer, and it's all they play are the super known games, or they play like Madden, COD.
Got it. I feel like we're talking about two different things. When you're talking about a casual gamer, and I'm talking about a game that you play casually.
Yes, we're talking about two separate things then.
We're talking about two separate things. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a whole...
A casual gamer to me is somebody that does not talk about video games outside of this.
But they know Spider-Man has the game coming out.
They know the big ones.
They know, yeah, but they don't. But any game that we talk about on a regular basis, like if somebody say, "Hey man, that Once Human looks dope," a casual gonna say, "What the fuck is Once Human?" But Des knows what it is because she's not a casual gamer.
But I wouldn't consider myself a hardcore gamer.
But I wouldn't consider you a casual either.
But I would consider myself a casual gamer. That's what I tell people. I have a very specific type of game that I like to play, and I know about other games, but I have a very specific type that I like to play, and that's what I play. So that's why I consider myself a casual gamer, because I'm not the type of gamer who plays everything that comes out.
Listen, this was awesome. We're not ending the podcast because we got one more topic that I want to hit, and I guess we'll make it quick.
Yeah,
right?
let's go.
We'll make it. We'll make it quick. We're about to hit. April is done. We're about to hit May. Xbox.
Jesus.
We were told that this will be the year we get that one game a quarter, and that hasn't happened yet. I know Hellblade is supposed to release next month. Any concern on that promise being something that's going to get swept under the rug because maybe it was promising one game a quarter? Was that too overzealous of Microsoft to say? Because we've already passed the first quarter or at the first quarter, and their first game will be releasing with Hellblade 2. So the first quarter is already gone. Was that too overzealous of Microsoft to say we're going to be releasing a game a quarter?
Were they saying first party game or just game?
When you hear, like, if Sony said we're going to release a game a quarter, I'm at least expecting something that's, console exclusive.
For Sony, yeah.
Or to me, I really think first party. Honestly, we're talking first.
But did they say first party? Because I think if they're just saying
there's specific verbiage.
Yeah, if they just said we're going to release a game a quarter, then we can't really be upset with them if they didn't say first party, right? Because Microsoft works with a ton of third party developers.
They're always very specific in their language, and there's
Listen.
Okay, so if they didn't say first party, then I wouldn't. That wouldn't be my expectation.
So it looks like a little snippet from the info highlights that the teams are currently working on. Where's the quote? With more than 23 studios worldwide creating games for Xbox, our goal is to release at least one new first-party game as a Game Pass every quarter.
Oh, well then I don't know.
There you go.
That just seems.
I think it was a mistake promising that.
Yeah.
Let me get another source.
Why would you put yourself under constraints like that?
Are they putting out? Okay, so my question is, are they putting out a brand new first-party game that's never been seen before on Game Pass, or are they just putting a first-party game on Game Pass that wasn't previously on Game Pass?
So according to Matt Booty,
what does that mean?
This is a quote from Matt Booty. We want to get to the point of releasing a new game. We want to get to the point of releasing a new game every quarter. Head of studios, Matt Booty said, games take up to 4 to 5 years to make, and the reality is that not every project we start will make it to launch. But if you add up all that, that's how we've gotten to our state today, with 24 studios making games across a variety of genres. And we know that a thriving entertainment service needs a consistent and exciting flow of new content, so our portfolio will grow as we continue, as we grow our services. Head of Phil Spencer added, the bottom line is we simply want to put our top quality games in front of more people than ever. But yes, that we mentioned multiple times a game a quarter.
Well, he also said he knows it takes 4 to 5 years to make a game, and so that's what they're aiming for.
With all the studios Microsoft owns, it's about time. It's time for a State of the K3. It's time for, I just think that might have been a little bit overzealous. Now, Hellblade 2 is dropping next month, which is great. We know Towerborn, which isn't a AAA title, but it's an Xbox first party. I guess really second party. They own the IP, but it's not a first party. I think it's Stoic is making it. That's not their studio, but they own the IP. Call of Duty, technically, it's a first party IP. They're going to count that as one of the 4. And then after that, it'll be a surprise. What else first party will they drop this year? I just think that one a quarter thing is going to be backpedaled.
Probably, because you have so many things that happen in development, so many blockers, so many things that hold you up in a game.
Baron.
Also, are they going to be pushing like marketing for each of these first party games?
What did he do?
You would hope so. Well, Baron said technically they did release the first party game because they released Sea of Thieves on PS5 this quarter. Petty. He said that in the shorts chat. Technically he ain't lying, but that's some petty shit, Baron. That's petty.
But they did it. They did it.
What is Dallas doing? Why is his mouth open?
He's singing, but he's on mute.
Do he know he muted?
He does now.
I don't think he's talking to us, but we know he's talking to somebody.
No,
'cause
he
his
might be
mouth is-
talking to somebody. Yeah. It just
Cartoons are
looks
on
like
a
he's
different
singing,
spectrum,
yeah.
remember?
We us cartoons is us cartoons. Is
D, before we go, do you think Microsoft's a little bit overzealous with the one game a quarter since they've missed the first quarter?
I mean, maybe overzealous and not like really managing expectations. And I mean, there's always been a slight problem with that, right? But everybody's got it. But I think that was pretty much the issue, not managing. Because when we hear, like, look at how Fame reacted just a second ago. When you hear one game a quarter, you think like, oh, new Xbox game. We gonna have some. Ooh, I'm gonna have some like fun games to play, right? That's not what. That's look how disappointed he was to hear that. And even me, I was like, here we go, PR talk. There's not like we're not getting what we asked for. Technically, that's happening. And if you had explained it to us technically, we like have a different reaction to hear. Like we probably look at the see if these things and go, oh yeah, they did drop something. And you could probably look at Sony doing that same thing. Oh yeah, they did drop something. If this situation was flipped the other way around, oh yeah, they did drop something on PC last month because they release games. Maybe not lately.
Are you saying Sony would get a pass?
But they release games. Say that again.
Look at his face.
I said, you saying, hold on really quick. Shout out to THX 1138. He's supporting the stream tonight. He says Hellblade 2 was a spring release, but pushed to May. I'm just happy it wasn't pushed to next year, THX. I need that game in my life. I hate that it was pushed at all. Shout out to you, man, for supporting the chat. You are a real one. But I was asking Dallas, was he admitting that Sony gets a pass?
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
At least he honest.
So the Xbox tax is real.
Most of us get treated a certain way, just based purely off our reputation, right?
Or our skin color.
Which you see what I'm saying? Based purely off how other people perceive you. I think that's probably a more accurate way to put it. Based purely off how other people perceive you, and I think that whole situation and the fact that we would even like consider a thing like the Xbox tax, I think that's a perfect example of that. So yeah, I am.
You saying the Xbox tax is real?
Hey, listen. If you say Candyman 5 times in the mirror, what happens after that is your business.
Well, if you say Matt Booty's name 5 times in the mirror, will you get? Listen, with all that said, man, we're gonna get up out of here. It's been one hell of a show. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to THX 1138 for supporting the stream. Everybody who came through, whether you're on the short stream, you know, I know we didn't do as well on the short stream today, but it's okay. OG stream wins this round. We are 1-1. Shout out to everybody who came through and rock with us, man. You guys have been freaking amazing. If you haven't, let me end this poll. Do you consider Call of Duty a casual game? 64% of the chat says yes, it is a casual game. Yeah. If you guys enjoyed the stream, if you laughed even a little bit, if you enjoyed the content, the commentary, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not. If you really want to support us, like a whole lot, consider becoming a channel member. We do have some exclusive content. Shout out to the short stream. It was a little light tonight, but it's okay. We're gonna make it do what it do, baby. We're gonna have a good time. Oh, while Xbox dropped Power Word this quarter. I mean, not really, but it was a game. But listen, you guys are amazing. Don't forget to go to
Power Word for a while.
Yeah, Power Word's amazing. What's I about to say? Yes, go to lv1gaming.com for news and reviews and all that good stuff. If you guys had a good time, again, please hit that like button. With all that said, congratulations. You guys leveled up to 287. This was XXP Podcast. We see y'all next week, man. Peace.